If you felt even a little bit guilty about booking your summer trip to Europe, I get it. You've seen the headlines: protests in Barcelona, locals with signs telling tourists to go home, cruise ships dumping thousands of people into the same tiny old town at the same time. Every Instagram feed full of the exact same 5 cities, the same crowds, the same lines, the same photo everyone has. So here's what I want to tell you, because I've spent almost 20 years living abroad and I have a relocation company that helps people move to Europe. If you feel guilty about traveling to Europe this summer, it's not because you're the problem. You're just being told to go to the wrong places, the overcrowded, overpriced ones. And the truth is, the vast majority of Europe is not protesting tourists. They'd love to see you. You only have to look a few hours past the famous cities that everyone fights over, and there are small towns right nearby that are quieter, cheaper, just as beautiful, and genuinely happy you came. So I pulled 10 of them, 10 underrated European destinations for this summer, each one with a swap for a place you already know is too overcrowded. And I saved my personal favorite for the end, so let's get into it. Brno in the Czech Republic. This is your swap for Prague. Prague is gorgeous, no one's arguing that, but summer is exactly when it turns on you. By July, the Old Town Square is shoulder to shoulder, the Charles Bridge is a slow shuffle of selfie sticks, and the hotel prices jump right when you want to go. But Brno is the second city, about 2.5 hours away, and it gives you a lot of that same Central European charm with more locals than tourists. Summer is when it's at its best. Warm weather, beer gardens spilling outside, cafe culture, festivals, and that buzzy university town energy without the crowds. Brno is friendly on your budget. Visiting there backpacker style runs around $60 to $90 a day. A comfortable mid-range trip lands around $100 to $175 a day, and a splurge on a boutique hotel and nice dinners is around $200 to $300. One tip, however, do not eat in the touristy center. Walk 10 minutes out and the food gets better and cheaper. My recs are gonna get a bit bolder from here, so I hope you're ready. Number 9 is Graz in Austria. Swap this one for Vienna. Vienna in the summer can feel hot and more crowded than most people expect, whereas Graz is the second largest city, and in summer it comes alive in a slower, easier way. Outdoor dining takes over, the farmers markets are thriving, the wine regions are right nearby, and it tends to run a touch milder than Vienna. So while everyone queues for the big palaces, Graz gives you outdoor cafes, wine gardens, and a much calmer place. Money-wise, Austria is not known for being cheap. I will be straight with you. Budget here is more like $80 to $120 a day, mid-range $165 to $275, and a splurge trip is roughly $325 to $500. A travel tip for you here is to build in a half-a-day trip to the wine country, just outside the city. That's the part a lot of people skip, and it's one of the best parts. And number 8 is Naxos in Greece. This is your swap for Santorini. I've been to Santorini, and I'll be honest with you, it was packed. Up in Ia, it's wall-to-wall selfie sticks, and at sunset, everyone's fighting for the same shot of the same blue and white buildings. It's stunning, but it's gotten expensive and crowded in a way that's hard to relax into. But Naxos is the calmer answer, and it's the largest island in the Cyclades, the green, fertile one, which is exactly why the food is so good. It has a more laid-back feel than neighboring islands like Mykonos, and it's more off the radar than Santorini, so you get gorgeous beaches without the party scene or the high prices. The beaches are the kind you can actually breathe on. Plaka alone is a long stretch of soft sand where you can still find your own quiet spot in the middle of summer. Naxos is a food lover's island. It's known for its cheese, potatoes, and fresh seafood, the kind of place where you really eat well without hunting down a tourist menu. Naxos town has the Portara too, a giant marble doorway left over from an ancient temple of Apollo, and a charming old town full of history right behind it. It's easy to reach by ferry and flat enough to just walk. On a budget, Greek islands are pricier than the mainland, so figure in $90 to $130 a day on the low end, $150 to $275 mid-range, and $300 to $450 plus if you want to splurge. Still a fraction of what Santorini could cost you in peak season. Regardless of where you're traveling this year, you need to be able to use your phone the moment you land, not after you've tracked down a cafe with Wi-Fi. That's why I always set up a Saily eSIM before my international trips. Saily is an eSIM app that works in over 200 destinations, so no matter how many countries you're hopping through, you're covered. Saily offers flexible pay-as-you-go plans that let you choose your country, region, or even a new Ultra plan that covers you in 121 destinations. To get started, you just search your destination, pick the plan that fits your trip, and use my code KristinDeal at checkout for 15% off. What I love about Saily is it's the only eSIM that includes free virtual locations, an ad blocker, and web protection, all included in your app. It also allows unlimited hotspot sharing across all of its plans, perfect for pairing with your laptop or sharing with your travel pals. Plus, 24/7 customer support and travel perks like discounted airport lounge passes and fast track security service. You can activate your eSIM easily before your trip so you have access to high-speed data as soon as you land and you'll never be stuck waiting on Wi-Fi. Download the Saily app right now and use my code KristinDeal at checkout for a 15% discount. You can scan the QR code right here or check the link in the description for 15% off your plan. And thanks to Saily for sponsoring this video. Number 7, Gdańsk in Poland. I'm swapping this one for Copenhagen. People really underrate the Baltic coast, and summer is when it's at its best. You get long daylight hours, comfortable temperatures, waterfront dining, and beaches a short hop away. And unlike Southern Europe in August, you're not melting in 90 to 100 degree heat. If the south feels too hot and too crowded, Gdańsk is one of the most comfortable summer climates in Europe, and a stunning old port city on top of it. On a budget, figure $50 to $80 a day on the low end, $100 to $200 mid-range, and $250 to $375 if you really want to splurge. Travel tip for you here, the long market is the postcard, but walk down the riverside in the evening when the light gets gold. That's when it's magic. Number 6 is Gijón in Spain, and this one swaps out for major Spanish cities like Barcelona, Malaga, and Madrid, where anti-tourism protests over housing costs and overcrowding have swept through the country. But the coastal city of Gijón in Asturias hasn't seen the same type of demonstrations. Here, you'll find that respectful, mindful travelers are largely welcomed by residents and local business owners who still view tourism as a crucial economic driver, as long as sustainable prices are preserved for the locals. In Gijón, you have the best of both worlds, from museums and architecture to beaches and the sea. The main beach, Playa San Lorenzo, runs right through the center of town, and on a summer day, you're more likely to share it with Spanish families rather than tour groups. The Old Quarter sits above the harbor, full of narrow streets, seafood restaurants, and cider houses, because up here, it's cider country rather than wine country, and the fresh seafood is among the best in Spain. The average daily cost per person in Gijón is about $162 per day, including accommodation, food, and entertainment. And while much of Spain can be brutally hot in the summer, Gijón is cooler, with temperatures averaging about 19 degrees Celsius or 65 degrees Fahrenheit. If this is the kind of travel you want, where you get to skip the crowds and find something new, then do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. This whole channel is about spending time in Europe the smarter way, whether you're going there on vacation or making a long-term move. Okay, number 5, and this is where it really gets good. Number 5 is Cebu in Romania. Swap this one for Budapest. If I had to sum the reasons up in one word, it's the temperature. Budapest in summer regularly climbs into the 90s, sometimes near 100, with crowded riverfronts and packed tourist zones. But Cebu sits up in Transylvania near the mountains, so it stays pleasant when the big capitals are sweating. Cooler air, outdoor festivals all summer, and mountain day trips right on your doorstep. One of the most comfortable summer climates on the continent, and the old town is beautiful. It's also one of the most affordable places on this list. $40 to $60 a day if you're budgeting, $75 to $175 mid-range, and $200 to $300 to splurge. If you visit here, use it as a base and take a day trip up into the Carpathian Mountains. That mountain air is amazing. Number 4, Buda in Norway. This is your swap for Bergen. Everybody wants to experience the Norwegian summer. The fjords, the midnight sun, the hiking, the cruises. But the problem is, almost everyone funnels into the same few cities, with Bergen at the top of the list. Norway is one of my absolute favorite countries, and there's nothing wrong with visiting there. But after watching a few documentaries about over-tourism in Norway, I realized how many other places there are to explore outside of the more popular areas like Bergen and Stavanger. The crowding comes from everyone funneling into the same towns, and a big culprit here are the cruise ships. But Buda in the north is an overlooked destination that's just as beautiful. Known as the Jewel of the Arctic Circle, Buda is the capital of the Nordland region. It was also the European Capital of Culture in 2024. Buda is your jumping off point for exploring the Lofoten Islands and also the Helgeland coast, a long coastline of hundreds of islands, which is also home to the Vega Islands, a World Heritage Site. This region is beautiful and sparsely populated, so it's a place where it's good to have a car, but there's also an express boat from Buda. This area is also close to some majestic fjords. I'll leave a list here on the screen for you to screenshot, since my Norwegian pronunciation is not so good. But there's also plenty to do in the city itself, from the local beaches to the museums and the Stormen Music Hall on the waterfront. And of course, you can also meander around downtown and on the walking streets in the midnight sun. If you're looking for a charming city surrounded by unspoiled nature and also with cool summer weather, then add Buda to your bucket list. For a spectacular view of the city, lakes, and fjords, stay at the Wood Hotel, which is situated right on a hiking trail. Rooms there start at $150 per night. Or to stay within walking distance of amenities, consider the Radisson Blu on the waterfront, conveniently located near the airport and train station, with rooms starting at just $125 per night. For your daily travel budget in this area, estimate $85 to $125 per day on the low end, $90 to $265 mid-range, and $350 plus on the high end. Besides Norway, the next place coming up is my favorite on the list. Number 3 is Lake Skadar in Montenegro. It's my swap for Croatia's crowded Adriatic coast and even Albania, which has become more popular in recent years. Back in the summer of 2017, I had just come off of peak tourism insanity in Europe. I had spent time in Positano on Italy's Amalfi coast, which was completely packed with tourists, then spent a few weeks sailing in Croatia during peak summer season. All of my friends wanted to go down to Dubrovnik, but when we heard how crowded it was, we kept going, and that's when we went into Mostar in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and we continued on into Montenegro. We were staying near Podgorica, one of the least visited capital cities in all of Europe, out in a country house in a vineyard with no internet, just us in our rental car. And somewhere along the way, a local told us, you have to go see Lake Skadar. So we found it, we hired a local guy to take us out on his boat for the day, and it was beautiful. Lake Skadar is one of the largest lakes in the Balkans. It's a national park, and it's honestly one of the most stunning places I've ever seen. The water was so calm, it was like glass, with the mountains reflecting right in it and all of these old stone buildings along the shore. You see people just hanging out, having a coffee. There's birds, bridges, and everything is very green. You can swim right in the lake, and that sunset was spectacular. The best part is it's uncrowded. I think the whole day we were there, we probably saw just a handful of other people, a couple boats, and a couple kayakers. This is the feeling that it's hard to find anymore in the summer in Europe. And in July and August, the Croatian coast especially is crowded, expensive, and hard to even book. But Lake Skadar gives you boating, swimming, wineries, wildlife, mountain scenery, and you're not fighting anyone for a beach chair. It's affordable too, $60 to $90 a day on a budget, $100 to $200 mid-range, and $225 to $350 to splurge. My tip here is to do exactly what we did. Hire a local to take you out on the water, and they'll show you corners of the lake that you'd never find alone. Number 2 is Lucca in Italy, and this one swaps out two crowded favorites at once, Florence and Cinque Terre. Summer in Tuscany has a reputation and not always a good one. Florence gets brutally hot and packed with long lines outside every museum. Cinque Terre gets so busy the trains are jammed and the trails are wall to wall. Lucca is the calmer answer with shady streets, those famous Renaissance walls you can actually bike around, and evening piazzas that fill up with locals, plus easy access into the rest of Tuscany whenever you want it. You get the Tuscan summer without standing in line with a few thousand other people to get it. Budget for Lucca is about $90 to $130 a day, mid-range $150 to $275, and splurge for $300 to $500. A tip here is to rent a bike and ride the loop on top of the walls at dusk. It could be the best 30 minutes you'll spend in the city, along with a gelato or glass of wine, of course. Annecy is number 1 for a reason. Picture a crystal clear lake, so clean you can see straight down with the Alps rising behind it. You have hiking, cycling, swimming, and outdoor cafes all lining an old town with canals running through it. You get all of that without the Riviera crowds, prices, or those Parisian heat waves in August. But here's the twist. I'm not recommending that you stay in the center of Annecy's Old Town, which also suffers from over-tourism these days, but instead explore the villages to the east and west of the lake, which offer the same beautiful surroundings without the crowds. For instance, the quaint medieval village of Talloires, south of the town of Annecy, yet a world away, where green cliffs tumble into the cleanest lake in France. This area is one of the most picturesque on the lake and inspires writers and artists. Here you can take a boat ride or paddle, go golfing or cycling, or choose from dozens of great hikes in the nearby National Nature Reserve. It's also a prime spot for bird watching. And at the day's end, you can enjoy dinner and drinks on the dock with a water view. Here's a list of some of the lesser known towns to stay at around the lake, both on the west coast and the east coast. It is a real French splurge, however, if you let it be. So budget around $140 to $180 a day, mid-range $225 to $400, and splurge $450 to $700. But you can do it on the lower end if you pick the right home base. So here's your list. Now, if you found yourself watching this video and thinking, sure, these places would be great to visit, but what about living in these countries? I've got you. Watch this video next where I'm sharing with you my brutally honest advice for Americans moving to Europe this year.